Welcome back to CryptosRUs. I am George, or all George. So I am streaming tonight, Friday night, and that's because this morning I had internet issues, so I'm making it up to you guys. But tonight I want to talk about Bitcoin, of course. Should you buy or sell Bitcoin right now? There seems to be a lot of fear. The index, the crypto fear and greed index, is showing extreme fear. What should you do and what caused it? Well, let's discuss. As always, smash up the like, subscribe to the channel. Two streams almost every day, 11:30 and 8:30 p.m. Central Standard Time. So make sure you hit that notification bell and follow me on Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, and check out all the latest news, article, and guides at CryptosRUs.com. Welcome, guys. Welcome. I am back to my normal office. So things should be running more smoothly going forward. But let's look at Bitcoin. Man, Bitcoin had a really good run until this one news hit this morning that kind of broke things. You could see we were doing really well during Thanksgiving. Bitcoin was pumping up from 55 all the way up to about $60,000. And it looked like it was mimicking what happened, I should say, in 2017, when after Thanksgiving, or I should say during Thanksgiving, it started going up until this happened all of a sudden, right? And why did it happen? Was it due to whalish games? Maybe a little bit of it, but mostly it's due to this new Omicron variant that was discovered in South Africa, and now this is making people antsy, scared. People don't know. This is supposedly a heavily mutated variant. So I don't know what that means. There is a chance of reinfection, it seems like people are speculating, right? So this is what caused the global scare today. So it wasn't just with Bitcoin. You could see right on top, Dow fell down 900 points. NASDAQ about 353 points. If you look at Europe, they fell down even more, 4 to 5%, which is huge. And Asia fell down quite a lot too. Okay, so this was not just a Bitcoin thing. And you could see the VEX, which measures volatility, went up 54%. This is what this new variant did today. Okay, so when there is fear like this, generally speaking, there's overselling. There's panic selling. People just sell off everything and go back to the standard, cash is king, right? So they want to make sure they have cash on the side in case things get lower. They want to protect their investments. So this is the reason why the crypto fear and greed index is now showing 21. Just last month, we were in greed mode. Just last week, we were in neutral. I should say yesterday we were neutral, not last week. Just yesterday we were neutral, and now this one day has made a lot of people fearful. Now it is at 21 and extreme fear. All right, so let's get to the bottom of this. Should you buy or sell Bitcoin? This index is showing extreme fear. There's a lot of fear out there. Should you buy or sell Bitcoin? Well, in my opinion, you buy. When things are cheap, when there's blood in the street, and honestly, there's not that much blood in the streets because Bitcoin is where it is. But when there's blood in the street and there's fear out there, especially extreme fear, what you want to do is take advantage. You want to buy when things are low, right? And we know that if it wasn't for this new variant news that came out today, Bitcoin will most likely be above 60,000, as the chart was indicating that there was just an upwards movement until this morning. And I do believe that this will continue unless, that this new variant, there's many new developments that come from it and maybe causes more scare, then maybe that could drive things lower. But if it turns out to be what Kevin O'Leary calls a nothing burger, where it's just a new variant, but it's not any more deadly or infectious or anything like that, and there's no chance of reinfection. I mean, if it turns out to be a whole nothing burger, the markets will recover fast, very fast. And we know that Bitcoin is down right now, but it's never out. Bitcoin is what everyone is looking to get into. Right now, there is correlations with the equities market, but eventually it'll decouple. And the smart money, the big money and the smart money, they've already started moving away from cash, moving away from gold, moving away from equities, and a lot of them have started entering Bitcoin right now. And you may not believe that on a day like today, but this is the reason why Bitcoin is as big as it is. And to kind of reassure you guys a little bit more about why I think this is a good buying opportunity, I hardly bust out the charts, but I just have to show this because it's so obvious. So on the day chart, I just drew this out, okay? So from a technical perspective, Bitcoin is at a level that, was the bottom for this last two, lows, okay? You could clearly see that if you draw a trend line here and trend line here, Bitcoin is in an upwards ascending channel right now. And the last time it formed a bottom was right around 29,000. Then it formed a bottom right around 40,000. And now, if this holds true, this 54,000 or maybe a little bit below will be that new low. But Bitcoin is forming higher lows. And I drew a line in RSI, which shows that last time Bitcoin was at 28, 29, the RSI dropped about 34, 35. Same thing around here when Bitcoin fell to 40,000, right? It was around there. And if you look at RSI right now, that's where it's hovering. So even from a TA perspective, it's looking like this could be the point where Bitcoin starts reversing up and starts bouncing up. And if it stays within this channel, then that means the next mark is right around $80,000, $90,000. So unfortunately, Plan B's 98,000 seems like that's not going to happen in November. There's a chance, just like there's a chance that any of you can win the Mega Millions or Powerball and win, $500 million or $1 billion. There's always a chance, but it's slim. So right now, it does seem like that 98,000 prediction for Plan B is probably not going to hit. But I've said this over the last few weeks. If it doesn't, so what? So what? If we do see it in December, no one's going to care that one prediction was wrong, right? And it certainly doesn't invalidate stock to flow. And everyone else that has been coming out with models and charts and indicators and patterns, right? They're all doing their best to kind of show you and forecast what's coming, but nothing is 100%. Nothing ever is 100%, because if it was, then everyone would be billionaires already. So it's just as simple as that. But even looking at it from this perspective, if you zoom out a little bit, Bitcoin actually looks like it's in a really good position right now, unless, of course, it breaks down, right? And the thing is, like I said just not too long ago, this new variant, who knows? Who knows what's going to happen, okay? Who knows what's going to happen to it? But right now, it's very, very early. And if it turns out to be like a nothing burger, okay, meaning that, yes, there's a new variant, but whatever that we have, the vaccines we have, or, works against it, there's no chance of reinfection, and all this stuff, then that's going to be a fantastic thing. Things are going to recover in a big way. Now, if they aren't, here's the other thing that I think is good for Bitcoin, and that is if governments have to implement, again, protocols and border lockdowns and all this stuff that they used to, of course, short term, this is going to be really bad, right? Very bad for a lot of people and businesses and everything else. But if you think about it, that's good for Bitcoin, right? Because governments will have to print more money, which means that there's going to be more inflation, and those that are not hedging against inflation with the likes of Bitcoin will be the ones that won't benefit, right? That actually will hurt them. But those of us that hold Bitcoin, we know that that's actually a very good thing, which is why so many people are turning to Bitcoin, right? And have turned to Bitcoin in the last few years. So we'll see. It's very early, and we'll see what happens, but this could turn out to be a nothing burger. I don't know why I say nothing burger. I think it's just funny. That's why I say it. But if it turns out to be nothing, then you know what? things will recover really, really quickly. So in my opinion, it's definitely not a sell moment. When Bitcoin is down like this, it's never a sell moment. If you don't want to buy, that's fine. If you just want to hold, that's fine. But these are the reasons why, these are the days, I should say, for profit taking, for having cash on the side, so that if things dip, you're able to buy back, right? Or you could dollar cost average and lower your prices. And that's how you do it. That's how you do it. And even, there's not a lot of news, but even President Bukele from El Salvador just added a whole bunch of Bitcoins. He added another 100 today. Before, he started out with just like 460, and he's been adding a little bit to it, or 420, I should say. Very, very little to it. He purchased a big amount this time, right? 100 extra one. And he is just like Michael Saylor and just keeps buying and buying and buying, although not to the same extent as Michael. But I'm pretty sure Michael will announce that he's buying more Bitcoin soon. So these guys will continue to buy. And these are guys that we need to mimic in terms of having strong hands and believing in Bitcoin and what it's going to bring, and continue on moving forward. Last two things. Bitcoin as a fundamental kind of thing is showing that, yeah, it is being used. Bitcoin overtakes value transfer over PayPal, and that's not an easy thing to do. So despite the fact so many people are holding Bitcoin as a value store, as a hedge against inflation, it's still being widely used for remittance and other things. That is why the volume is now more than PayPal, which is significant. And lastly, this is breaking news. It's kind of bad and good. And no, I should take it back. Okay, lastly, I just want to point out, because this was kind of a shocker. It's probably bad, but the community is waiting to see what Alex says, and right now he has basically no comment. But Celsius CFO, who was residing in Israel, was arrested for money laundering, but not because of his involvement with Celsius, because his involvement with one project I've always had a problem with, and that is Siren Labs. Because Siren Labs was just a project that seemed very, very, very scammy at the beginning. In fact, the very educational Ripple commercial that I've been showing you guys is about that company, and it shows how misused, or how much they misuse investors' money, because they retracted one of the biggest ICOs ever in history, and then they went on and blew it all up. And they accomplished nothing. They came out with one phone that no one used, and it was it. And Siren Labs was created by this guy named Moshe Hogeg, who then used his money to buy multi-million-dollar properties, and he used it to buy a soccer club. So that took a lot. So Moshe basically got arrested for money laundering, and unfortunately, this guy, I don't even know his name, Yuran Salem, was also arrested based on his involvement with Siren Labs. So this brings a controversy, because he's listed as a CFO of Celsius, even though he's in Israel, right? So now there's some question on whether or not there's some kind of involvement with Celsius. And here's the thing. Alex Misinski, who is the CEO of Celsius, was also an investor advisor to Siren Labs. So there is some kind of connection there as well. So we will see what comes of it. I saw some things posted on Twitter already. People are, of course, asking Alex what's going on. Someone did like an AMM with them and asked him directly what he thought about this charge, and he basically said no comment. I'm going to look more into it. So just want to spread that out. But the reason why I bring this up is because I've always had a problem with Siren Labs. Always had a problem with it. Now they're finally being discovered, right, in terms of being a scam, and hopefully this doesn't carry into Celsius, but I did want to say, because that's pretty shocking news. All right, outside of that, that's pretty much it. Let's just do a quick Q&A, and I'll let you guys get back. All right, scrolling up. I apologize. I know some people sent some super chats while I was talking. Unfortunately, they all disappeared. So if you did ask something, make sure you rewrite it. Again, I apologize. When I'm in a groove, I try to stay away from looking at a super chat. A lot of them disappear. So I apologize. Okay, but scrolling down. What will happen? Avalanche? Nothing will happen. I think Avalanche is doing just fine. It's taking a breather from its tremendous month, 72%, right? It was even higher. Same thing with CRO. So there's many that's still way in the green for the last 30 days, right? Even BNB is doing very, very well. So overall, it's good. Overall, it's good. All right, can't. Yes, chat's getting a little too controversial over this new variant, but you know that's the thing. There's always gonna be one, right? And there's always gonna be panic, but whether or not they turn out to be anything, that's the uncertainty right now. Do you think My Neighbor Alice and Wax Peak could still go higher, even though they had a small rally? Yes, anything's possible. One thing I do in terms of judging how high something could go is look at their competition, right? You look at Wax P, their competition are other layer ones that have NFT projects on them, the likes of Ethereum and Solana. And if you look at that, well, then their potential is absolutely huge from there, right? And even if you compare them to, say, Decentraland or Sandbox, there's ways off. So they definitely have promise and potential. And My Neighbor Alice, you know, they're kind of different from other play-to-earn games, but you look at something like Axie Infinity, as big as they are, well, that shows you, yeah, they definitely still have the potential to go higher. Hari Moo says, don't let emotions take over. Buy the effing diff. Well, usually, you know, this is another bottom indicator. Usually, you see when the greed index, or greed and fear index, I should say, when the fear hits about 20, that's when it's pretty a bottom indicator. Of course, you could see here when Bitcoin was stuck in the 30,000 for some time, it did dip below. Sometimes it dipped to 10, but for the most part, it stood at 20 before rallying up. And the same thing over here. Back in October, early October, when Bitcoin dipped down to about 40,000, the fear index also dropped about 20 before it started rallying up, right? So that's where we are now. So, you know, this is one of those contrarian kind of indicators where if everyone is fearful, that's when you buy, because that's when things are going to flip, right? So even that actually is a pretty good indicator of what's happening right now. All right, let me make sure I didn't miss anything. Someone asked about Cadena. Cadena is doing pretty well. I mean, I think it's at 18 or 19. So recently, it's been having trouble holding above 20, but relatively speaking, it's about 17. You can't complain that even the last 30 days is up 184%, and in the last 90 days, 2,000%, right? So obviously you can't complain, but yeah, I think it still has a lot of room to grow. So why is Arweave pumping? I don't know. Arweave is connected with Solana. Let's see. I don't know if they're pumping. They're up 3%. The last 7 days up 3%. Last 30 to 32%. You know, I don't know if they're pumping, but they do have a very tight connection with Solana. That's what I like. Loop Ring, you know, I don't like how much they pumped up, mostly because due to one rumor, and that is GameStop NFTs go come aboard. I mean, that's really the thing that really drove them up. So I want to see kind of if that's true and whether or not they level out. Lisa, hope you had a good Thanksgiving. I did. Hung out with the family. Kids took a little mini vacation, right? That's why I was streaming away. But it's always good to get away. I appreciate your question. Thoughts on EOS? I don't like EOS at all. I think there's much, much, much better L1s right now than EOS. So, or EOS. Joseph, how much can you bench press? I probably can't even bench 3 sets of 135 right now, to be honest. I'm so out of shape. I really need to get back to it. But my peak was 305. So almost 3 plates. Almost. Just 5 pounds off from each side. But yeah, I don't know if I could ever get back there. Can you check Sanamo? No, I'm not gonna check that. That's just a silly meme coin. VSC is new from SEC Dev. Okay. Someone says Anchor is killing it. Let's see. I haven't checked Anchor in a while. Anchor is killing it. Something happened last 24 hours, up 40% in the last 24 hours. So something happened. But, Anchor is an interesting project. No one else is really like Anchor. They're well backed and they help you create nodes for other projects that you may like. You want to run an Ethereum node, they'll help you do that. You want to run whatever node, they'll help you do that. But you have to pay for it. But it's like a one-click deployment, and it's really easy to use. And then they integrate things like liquid mining and stuff, so liquid staking. So it's a little bit more interesting, and micro staking. But overall, that's what they do. I don't know what just happened, but they're up. Put 3x long on BTC. Just don't do any leverage if you can. Yours by year end, maybe. Speaking of yours, I did drive one. Yours looks absolutely amazing on the outside. Inside, so. It looks amazing in pictures, but then, once you get inside, it feels a little cramped for an SUV. And then you feel like the door panel and the dash, and it's like very hard plastic. I know they're trying to like probably save weight, so there's not a whole lot of insulation. So it looks great, but when you're touching it, it's not so great. But the sound is absolutely amazing. The Urus sound when you start it up and you're just cruising around town, it sounds amazing. But it's not very practical. 2 seats in the back, and you can't even fold it down, right? So it's good and it's bad. Super Google. So I test drove one recently. What do you think about Nervos? Well, they're promising L1. Got to see if their new L2 does anything for them. They're God-woken L2. So if it can entice a lot of dam makers over from Ethereum, well, then they're in a really, really good shape. CTO Chris Larson made a video about Cadena. Is it Chris Larson or another launch? Luna looking pretty strong. Yeah. There's some FUD because Luna, being sued or subpoenaed by SEC. But they'll get through it. What do you think about Sol by end of the year? I think Sol's still one of the top performers, and they will continue to be one of the top performers going to year end. They're in a really good spot. It's very hard to hold that number 5 position, but they are. So, someone says Anchor pumped because Banter pumped it. Well, that's pretty impressive. You could get them to pump that much. What do you think about RSR? Never been into it. It's an algorithmic stablecoin backed by other stablecoins. I just don't see a need for that. Any comments on alpha release on Sandbox? It's what made them pump so much recently. I haven't used them yet. I haven't tested it out, but there's a lot of excitement over it, right? Seeing how hot Decentraland is, Sandbox will be just as hot. Rolls-Royce Cullinan over any other SUV or truck? Yes, except you don't want to drive that thing to your local Home Depot or your local grocery store because you don't want anyone else to be scratching or denting it with their cart. Lettuce, okay, you retracted a big super chat. I appreciate it. All right. Gala, I like Kala, and they've been very, very hot because Metaverse has been hot, so I think they're very good. FTM stated DC, what? Oh, yeah, at their conference, they go merge with Binance Cloud. Do you think this make it? I don't know. I don't even know what Binance Cloud honestly is. It just seems that's like a gimmick. It seems like basically what they want to do is they want to bridge into Binance Smart Chain. That's what it sounds like. So I don't know what this Binance Cloud is. So StormX released a commercial CA McCollum. Okay, big whoop. CJ is not a superstar. Their relationship with Portland Trailblazers, I doubt that's having any effect on them. It'll have effect on, say, someone like Crypto.com, but for StormX, I don't know if anyone's going to care while watching a Trailblazers game. Do you think Link will ever move? Yes, it will. I don't know what NFT that is. I like the graph. I think the graph is doing very well. Very, very, very well. You know what's doing well is Bitcoin is starting to come back up. So this is pretty good. Just a little bit. Tad a little bit. But again, you know, if this new variant turned out to be a nothing burger, you know, things will recover really, really fast. I believe. I've been wrong. I've been wrong many times. My source is only right 100%, 60% of the time. So keep that in mind. But one thing I talked about this morning is Bitcoin dominance. And I'll tell you, I've lived through so many corrections, so many dips, and many crypto winters. Every single time there's true panic. True panic. When this fear index goes to 10 and stays there, and it could go even to 0, though I don't remember it going to 0. But when there's true panic out there, Bitcoin dominance goes up. It always goes up. It always goes up when there's true panic. And today, what's happening is it's actually going down, which shows you that retail investors are taking advantage and they're buying the dip. Otherwise, there's no reason why Bitcoin dominance would be going down. The only reason why is because people are taking advantage and buying their favorite altcoins, the ones that are down today, like Ethereum and Binance Coin and Solana, even Cardano and even XRP, and all these coins are down. They're DCA into them, and that is why Bitcoin dominance is actually going down. So this shows that people are not really panicking. Some might, but vast majority are taking advantage, and they know that this is a good buying opportunity. So there you go. There you go. All right. I think that's it. I'll let you guys go. Last few questions. Have I heard of Contentos? Yes, but it's not something that anyone uses or talks about right now. So I don't really keep track of them. Wilder World, I've never heard of them. Maybe I have. I don't really remember. All right, guys. That is it. I'll let you guys go. Have a good night. Overall, let's see what happens this weekend, right? Because today is Friday. We had a low volume week. We had this new variant scare today. This weekend, let's see if more news come out, and let's see what happens with Bitcoin and crypto. All right, but to answer the question, buy or sell Bitcoin, I definitely believe it is a buy at this point. All right, guys, that's it. Have a good night. I'll see you guys tomorrow, 11:30 a.m. Central Standard Time. Mark, yes, you should move it off eToro. All right, take care, guys. Bye-bye. Oh, by the way, since I talked about Siren Labs, I might as well show you this very uneducational video about Ripple and XRP. And it happens to be a clue to one of my biggest giveaways. So take a look.
What do you think about Ripple?
Well, I mean, I think it's too centralized, but I definitely want to meet Chris Larson.